All right, we'll start in a minute. If you got questions or comments, put them down there. If you want to talk about the new Age of Ultron trailer, you can ask about that too. Just anything you want. Okay, well, it's after 10. Got a couple people in the queue. I guess we can start now. All right, welcome back. Welcome to the show. A little different this week. We don't have Arrow or Flash to talk about. They're both taking a few weeks off. But we do have Gotham, and we got Agents of S.H.I.E.L.D., which is back this week. And I have quite a few things to say about both. So this promises to be a fun show regardless. You know the drill by now. If the stream craps out, please don't leave. I'll try to get it back up, and it's entirely possible that it may crap out because my laptop has been a little glitchy lately. May need to have it looked at before too long. So that's just a heads up. No real dinner tonight. I wasn't too hungry, so I just got some fruit here. So, wondering what I'm eating, that's it. Anyway, let's get this show rolling. Gotham. Gotham. Episode 18. Everyone has a cobblepot. Commissioner Loeb uses leverage against Bullock to get Flass off on his murder charge, so Gordon looks for leverage against Loeb. Selina visits Bruce and Alfred in the hospital. Nigma's attempts to ask out Kristen Kringle doesn't go very well. And just when I thought the Fish Mooney storyline couldn't get any more ludicrous, it proved me wrong. Oh God, how it proved me wrong. Let's start with the positives. The revolving door of storylines on this show stopped at 4 instead of 5 this week. Having an A plot, a B plot, and 2 C plots is still really pushing it, but hey, progress is progress. There was no question about which storyline was the most important. Gordon investigating Loeb gets the most screen time, that's the most fleshed out, and it probably had the most redeeming qualities as a result. Loeb using Bullock to exonerate Flass was a fun twist that I didn't see coming. And not because it was batshit insane like the horror show the Fish Mooney storyline is turning into. This actually made perfect sense and helped drive the episode forward. Having Loeb's dirty secret be that he's hiding his psycho daughter Miriam, who killed his wife, was a good twist. Another good twist. And I really liked the actress playing her. You know, she was very creepy in all the right ways. In fact, that entire scene was very well done. Also, I liked Gordon blackmailing Loeb into backing him for a president of the policemen's union. You know, that's something that Gordon would not have done at the start of the season. So it's good to see that he's acclimating to his environment, working within the system, learning to get his hands dirty, stuff like that. That could have consequences later on, but as a TV viewer, that's good. That's what you want. Having said all that, this storyline was not without a good deal of stupid. Oh no, it wouldn't be Gotham if that were the case. Gordon proved in this episode that he does not have the slightest clue how to be discreet. He pays a visit to this guy who may be holding all of Loeb's secret files for him. Him and Dent just waltz into the place, brandishing a badge, not realizing that this might tip people off and let word leak back to Loeb, giving him time to cover his ass. Then when this guy sets his people on them, Gordon and Dent just run for their lives. I don't know why. Yeah, they had knives, but Gordon has a fucking gun. I guess the knives were scarier somehow. But eventually, Penguin helps lead Gordon and Bullock to a house outside of town, with two old folks as the caretakers. When asked who they are, Gordon tells them exactly who him and Bullock are. Just tells them. Doesn't give them fake names or try to make something up or anything. These are the two people that Loeb trusts to keep his secrets for him. It never occurs to Gordon that they might, I don't know, call Loeb and find out who he is, or that they might know who he is already by name, seeing as how he's the troublemaker cop that's been stirring up all kinds of shit for their boss. He never thinks about this. Could Gordon not come up with a better cover story? At least Penguin tried to think of one. At least Penguin had enough foresight to not give them his actual fucking name. But ultimately, they get the leverage they need after some hijinks at the house. Some actual detective work was involved. Gordon gets one up on the corrupt cops in his precinct, and even though the good guys look like idiots along the way at times, that's not too bad for Gotham. The two C plots were short and inoffensive. I think they were relegated to 2 scenes each, which is within reason for this show. I always like it when Bruce and Selina interact, so I was glad to see them make up and her offer to help him. If this leads to more scenes with them in the future, that's good. Probably my favorite episode of the season was when they were on the run together, so I look forward to seeing more of that. If the two of them look for what's his name and try to find evidence against the board of directors together, that could lead to some good things. But then Selina just takes off and says, well, you know where to find me. Does he? Isn't she still crashing at Barbara's place? He doesn't know that. How is he supposed to find her there? I don't know. And then there's poor, unlucky in love Ed Nigma. Kristen Kringle is a bit of a tease, apparently. She tells him that she won't be getting back together with Flass because she's realized that there are better men out there, being rather coy and suggestive about this. So when he tries to ask her out, she has already made plans with some other dude, Tom, who I suspect may have to worry about having his lockers stuffed with stolen body parts now. I really wish I was joking about that. The fact that I'm not goes to show just how fucked up this show is becoming. But it looks like Nigma is about to snap and do something crazy again. Maybe take another step towards becoming the Riddler, and as long as they don't get too macabre with it this time, I'll give that a chance. But that is a line that we crossed a long time ago with this Fish Mooney garbage. Why is Fish Mooney still alive? It's a simple question. Why are the organ harvesters keeping her alive? Can anyone explain this to me? She tells Dahlmacher that him killing her is not an option. Why the fuck not? He kills her, he solves all his fucking problems. The prisoners in the basement only banded together because of her. So you kill her, you destroy their morale, they go back to turning on each other, boom, your problems are fucking solved. But no, not only have they not killed Fish, not taken her organs, not done a damn thing to her when they intended to harvest her for spare parts just last week, they've actually treated her quite nicely and given her a replacement transplant eyeball. I'm pretty sure that's not medically possible, but whatever. So through some cracked out bullshit logic that I couldn't explain if I lived to be 100, Fish convinces Dahlmacher to put her in charge of this place. Because she's proven to be so trustworthy, right? She couldn't possibly have any kind of bad intentions toward you, right, Dahlmacher? Right? Fuck off. So this Nimrod actually agrees to this on the condition that Fish proves herself because he doesn't tolerate failures. No. He doesn't tolerate failures. Failures like Jeffrey Combs, apparently. How did Jeffrey Combs fail him exactly? Other than, not simply killing Fish to quickly stop all the trouble she was causing and allowing her to dig out her own eyeball that they were going to use. Which, by the way, could not have been that big a deal if they had a spare eyeball just lying around that they could transplant into her fucking head so quickly that she could see perfectly by the next fucking morning. I mean, aside from that, Jeffrey Combs seemed like a competent guy. Not so, according to Dahlmacher. And for his supposed failures, Dahlmacher has for his failures, Dahlmacher has removed Jeffrey Combs' head, still living, mind you, and attached it to what I can only describe as a female Frankenstein body. What the fuck? I'm sorry. I need a minute with this. I need a minute. No, you know what? No. Just, why would you do this? Why would anyone, no matter how deranged or maniacal, ever do something like this? For what purpose? What could possibly be gained by this? You go through this whole bullshit song and dance about getting the prisoners under control so as not to damage their valuable body parts, and for what? For what? So you could sew those body parts together and attach them to Jeffrey Combs' head? What the fuck is this? What am I even watching? Why am I still watching this horse shit? Maybe this is something out of the comics. I don't know. But there are reasons why you make changes when you adapt things from one medium to another. For fuck's sake! There was an episode of Tales from the Crypt back in the day that did something almost exactly like this. If you're bringing the goddamn Crypt Keeper out of the mothballs just for storyline material, that's when you know you've gone off the rails with your motherfucking Batman prequel. Remember when this show was supposed to be a crime procedural about the origins of Batman? How the hell did we get from there to here? Jesus Christ. Oh, and by the way, to prove herself, Fish gives up 2 of her own people, who the organ harvesters could have taken themselves whenever the fuck they wanted to quite easily, because, you know, they have guns. The story of Gordon looking for dirt on Loeb was not without some merit. The side stories with Bruce and Nigma were harmless. But all that stuff pales in comparison to this Fish Mooney shit. If you locked Vince Russo in a room with a dozen paint-sniffing clowns and told them to dictate to a crack-smoking monkey at a typewriter, they would not be able to come up with something this fucking absurd. Fuck this storyline and everyone involved with it. God damn. Wish there was alcohol in this. For fuck's sake, Gotham. What are you doing? If you want to sound off on Gotham, do it in the comments section right now. Because holy Christ. All right, the Save Me one. That effect with the guy's head on the woman's body was the worst special effect I have ever seen in my life. Hell, Hercules and Xena had better effects than that back in the 90s. It was supposed to be this dark and scary moment. Instead, you end up laughing your head off because of how cheesy it looked. Epic fail. Yeah. Yeah. Epic fail was putting it mildly. The Save Me one. I agree about Fish Mooney. I don't know what show she is on right now, but it's not Gotham. Every other character has a reason to be there. Bruce Wayne before he becomes Batman, Batgirl's parents, Robin, Nightwing's parents, Jerome before the Joker, Selina before Catwoman, Dent before Two-Face, Ivy before Poison Ivy. Then there's Fish, who I don't think existed before the show and who right now is on an island somewhere with a doctor that takes body parts and gives them to other people for some reason. And my big question is, what the hell does this have to do with Gotham prior to Batman showing up? I don't think anyone involved in this storyline has anything to do with Batman. It's like they're trying to do a show in a show here, and it just doesn't work. Yeah, 100% agree. This feels an awful lot like they're trying desperately to come up with a reason to keep Fish Mooney on the show. And they just can't think of anything good. Excuse me. This reminds me of 24 season 1. Just about a conceptually perfect season, except for there was this one storyline where I think it was after the wife escaped from the terrorists, and they did a several episode subplot where she got amnesia. And I believe their explanation for this was they didn't really have anything for her at the time, and so they just came up with something because otherwise you lose a great actress. Well, if the only alternative was to give her amnesia, just keep her off the show for a few episodes. It's okay. You know, just give more screen time to Jack. It's all right. this is the same type of thing. They're scrambling for ideas about how to keep Jada Pinkett Smith on the screen when it's not necessary. This character is done. You finished her off. There is no more reason for her to be there. But I guess they've contracted her for a certain number of episodes, and they have to fill them out somehow. So we're doing this Frankenstein garbage. I don't know what the hell is happening here. Is this something from the comics? I think Dollmaker is a character from the comics, but did they ever do stuff like this? Like going into Frankenstein territory? This is downright cartoonish. This shit is awful. I'm not exaggerating here. It's fucking terrible. I don't know what they're thinking. I don't really know anything about the showrunner. I wonder if the showrunner was a fan of the comics beforehand. Based on this stuff, I would guess not. This sounds like the work of a showrunner who thinks this might be how comics work, who is not really well-versed in the nuances of adapting comics to a different medium, because this feels really sloppy and really haphazard and kind of feels like he just doesn't know what the hell he's doing. This shit is bad. Really fucking bad. Oh, God. Elsa Morty is back. All right, Shield question. Okay, we'll get to that in just a minute. Detox 12. I love Gotham. To each their own, man. I won't criticize you for liking it, but I can't agree with that right now. I can't agree with you. If you like it, more power to you. But I can't be in that camp right now. But enough about that. Let's talk about a much better show this week. Agent Carter wrapped up last week. So now Agents of S.H.I.E.L.D. is back with their mid-season premiere. And after this, we're going just straight with an uninterrupted block of episodes right up to the finale, which is much preferable to the schedule they had in season 1, where they were on for 1 week and then off for 2 weeks, and then on for 2 weeks, and then off for a month, and then on for another week, and then off for the Olympics, and so on and so forth. This is much better. That 3-month hiatus sucked, but it's back now, so let's talk about that. S.H.I.E.L.D. Season 2, Episode 11, Aftershocks. Trip is dead, and some members of the team are handling that worse than others. Coulson's deal to hand Bakshi over to Talbot goes mysteriously awry. Raina has come down with a bad case of be careful what you wish for syndrome. Skye has earthquake powers now, but her and Fitz are keeping that a secret because of reasons. The Inhumans are making their presence felt. And there's a twist with Mini Lola that makes Mac look like one sneaky son of a bitch. What we've got here is sort of a fallout/bridging episode. Yeah, we're dealing with the ramifications of the mid-season finale, of which there were quite a few, kind of pushing Hydra to the side for the time being, as well as gearing up for our next big story arc with the Inhumans. And this was a really great character development episode. We see everyone reacting to Trip's death in their own way. And the really interesting thing about this is how that event, Trip's death, affects everything. Some of the characters handle it well, some of them really don't. But essentially, that death has become a driving force to push the story and the characters into some new and really interesting directions. You know, Coulson is pissed off now, and he decides to go on the offensive against Hydra in a way that they haven't tried yet. May is punching a bag. Mac has a bit of a meltdown, understandably. Skye is blaming herself. Simmons is trying to avoid blaming herself by vilifying the entire alien/superhuman community. And ironically, it's Fitz that seems to be approaching everything with the coolest head. But Coulson sees Whitehall's death as an opportunity to kick Hydra while they're down, and after Trip died, he really wants to kick something. So they have this whole subplot, which is a really great example of characters advancing the story by being smart. I'm a big fan of when TV shows can do that, by having the characters act intelligently. Coulson puts on this big dog and pony show for Bakshi, letting him know they're handing him over to Talbot, and then allowing Bakshi to escape. Engineering this whole scenario where he's allowed to escape. And that scene was great, by the way. First the van hits them when they're right in mid-conversation. They didn't build up to some big dramatic moment or anything. Just mid-conversation, boom, bam. The van just smashes right into him. I jumped at that. Then they have this fake fight where Coulson and May are spouting these really cheesy lines. Like, you know what that means, don't you? Means I'm going to do that. And they'll never take us alive! And of course, the lines are corny as hell because Coulson actually wrote a script. Because that's Coulson. He would write corny stuff like that. And I love that they make note of that. Like, hey, if you wrote the script, we wouldn't say anything. Coulson. And then using Hunter to pretend to extract Bakshi and make him think that his Hydra superiors want him dead, and then letting Bakshi go over their heads and have several Hydra leaders killed all at once. It was brilliant. But then we see that Bakshi is no dummy either. He has a way of dealing with Hunter in the car outside the house. And you think him and Bobby are fucked, but then the good guys are prepared for that too, with all those fucking machine guns that just pop out of the car and blast everyone straight to hell. So we see the good guys being smart, having this really clever plan, the plan almost getting Hunter and Bobby killed when the bad guy pulls an ace out of her sleeve, but then the good guys overcoming this and winning in the end because they were just a little bit smarter than the villain. That's how it's fucking done, people. You don't have to dumb the characters down to make the plot work like Flash has been guilty of a number of times this season. You can have your characters, the heroes and the villains, acting intelligently, making all the right decisions, but still have trouble coming out on top, and still have a really exciting and interesting episode. And it's more interesting when everyone is being smart like this. It's easier and more fun to root for them when they don't have to act like dumbasses just to keep the wheels on the plot moving. So that was all really good stuff. The other main plot thread that we follow here is the stuff at the base. There was some terrific character beats here. I really enjoyed the attention they gave to Mac, who freaks out a couple of times, which makes sense for him. He's dealing with the stuff that happened to him in the Alien City back in the mid-season break episode. He was possessed by an alien city. Yeah, and this is the character who's the most apprehensive about alien stuff and has not been handling it well up to that point. So it makes sense that he would kind of blow up about that. He blows up at Fitz, blows up at Coulson. And this was something that Mac needed because they've kind of been taking a slow burn approach to his development so far. And I really liked him getting a few moments there. Yeah, that was some much needed fleshing out for him. But the most fascinating reaction out of everybody was Simmons. She's usually all bright and happy and enthusiastic about all this unexplained alien superhuman type stuff, and now suddenly she's done a complete 180 to the point where she's likening it to a plague and trying to rationalize putting people like that down, which is not what Skye wants to hear right now. So a really surprising reaction for Simmons. Excuse me. But not out of character for her. So for Simmons, this is something that's been building up for a while, quite a while actually, from very early on in the series, if you think about it. In the beginning, she was arguably very naive about the way the world really works and the potential consequences of superhumans and things like that. And now, a whole bunch of those people have tried to kill her and the people she cares about, and Tripp, the guy who was only on the team in the first place because she vouched for him and got him in, is dead because of it. So she's having a really unhealthy knee-jerk reaction where anyone out of the ordinary is a potential WMD now and needs to be stopped. And, if that requires killing them, well, that might not be the worst thing in the world in her mind right now. And that is quite a shift from the bright, happy science princess that she was not that long ago. And yet it still feels like a completely organic development. A really interesting development for Simmons right here. For a lot of characters, actually. And I know some people are not going to want to hear this, but many of these things would not have been possible excuse me, would not have been possible and would not have happened if they hadn't killed off Tripp. And to me, this is proof that killing him for dramatic effect was the right way to go. He was kind of a superfluous window dressing character who never got expanded upon while he was there. But by killing him the way they did and letting his death pave the way for all these new character and story developments, they raised the stakes and they made the show a lot more dynamic and a lot more interesting in the process. Ultimately, Tripp's death had more meaning than his life ever did. So all those people riding the hashtag Tripp Lives bandwagon, no, fuck that. Killing him off was the best thing they could have done, in my opinion, because look at all the really cool stuff that's happening as a result. But the best part in all this, if you ask me, the best part of this episode was Skye and Fitz. Fitz is the first one to figure out that Skye has been transformed into something else. Dare I say it's something inhuman. Ooh. And the acting in that scene is fucking brilliant. Ian DeCastiger just nails this scene to the wall. He should submit that to the Emmy voters. He wouldn't get nominated, obviously, because it's a science fiction show, but he should do it anyway, because it was that good. And when he finally drops the inhuman line, chills, goosebumps, seriously. I don't think that scene could have been any better. Just outstanding stuff from both of them. And then we get even more layers to this when Fitz comes back and actually doctors Skye's test results so the others won't find out about her, which has all sorts of implications. I mean, he's lying to Simmons here when she's not exactly in the most rational state of mind at the moment. And Simmons is not going to take that well when she finds out. But again, while this is surprising for Fitz, it also makes sense for him to do. He sees that Skye has had this giant change forced upon her, and after everything he's been through, dealing with the change that he had to endure because of the brain damage from his near drowning this season, he empathizes with that, where everyone else, Simmons especially, is just looking for potential threats everywhere. And that was an incredibly sweet moment when he covers for Skye and she hugs him and she's breaking down and he tells her that there's nothing wrong with her, she's just different, and that's okay. There was something wonderfully poignant about that, because this is what he wishes someone had said to him when he changed, when he woke up from his coma, when he was completely different. If someone had told him that, he might not have had such a tough time this season. Fitz went through 10 episodes thinking that he was broken and worthless, with everyone treating him differently because he couldn't be like he was before, to where he's now trying to help Skye so she doesn't have to go through the same thing he did. Just really great character stuff, and easily some of the best acting we've seen from Ian DeCastiger and Chloe Bennett, too, since the series began, really. And then there's Raina. Poor Raina. Raina really could have used some of Fitz's sage advice, because, wow, this inhuman thing did not turn out like she thought it would. I love the juxtaposition here. of Skye, who never wanted this, but against her will has received this amazing gift that she can't see for what it is. With Reyna, who wanted this more than anything, who heard stories her entire life about how she'd transform into this beautiful angel and has now become a hideous monster. I have little sympathy for Reyna because she was no saint, obviously, but the reveal of what she looks like now, incredible makeup job on her, by the way, but they took Ruth Negga, this beautiful woman, and basically turned her into a human porcupine. Ugh. This was downright horrific. She had spines on her teeth, for God's sake. Her teeth! Jesus Christ! I mean, I figured they were going to do something like this with Reyna, because that's how it goes with the Inhumans. You know, some of them look like normal people, but some of them just pick the short straw and turn into freaks. And they have an opportunity to do some really fascinating stuff with Reyna here. And that's why I figured they were going to do this. It's a situation where it's something she dreamed of her whole life, something she idealized her whole life. She finally gets it. It turns out to be something absolutely horrible, and she's driven insane by it. That could be a really great arc for Reyna if they do it justice, and they could do some really interesting and just fascinating stuff with her now. I can't. They've taken someone who was already really interesting and turned her into one of the most interesting characters on the show at this point. Because I can't wait to see what she does next. And the scene with her and Cal, oh my God. This was so twisted with dark humor, it was beautiful. She tracks him down, and he gives absolutely zero fucks about her predicament. But the second he hears that Skye got her powers, you had to see this to appreciate it. This crazy-ass motherfucker does a happy dance. He actually does a happy dance, while Reyna is just collapsed on the ground as everything she ever believed in has become a living nightmare. Holy shit. Kyle MacLachlan is fucking glorious here. It's so dark and so incredibly fucked up, but you still just can't help but laugh. Oh, God. And then he tells Reyna to go kill herself if she's so unhappy. Quite the buzzkill there, Mr. Hyde. And that leads us to the Inhumans introduction. And we get to see them in the flashback when the episode starts. So happy we got to see Skye's mom again, and for her to actually get lines and a name and an identity of some kind. Because I know a lot of people were not pleased with the way that she was just fuel for the meat grinder the first time she showed up, and I was a little weary of that myself. But now we know what she was about and what her purpose was, and there's every possibility that she might show up again, and I hope she does, because I feel like there's a story there. But we see her helping the dude with no eyeballs from the mid-season finale, Gordon. I thought he was the character Reader from the comic, but it seems like his powers are different. To be continued on that. But then we go to the present. Reyna's trying to kill herself by walking into traffic. The S.H.I.E.L.D. TAC team is about to take her out, but then Gordon teleports in like a fucking boss and just whisks her away. Awesome entrance for him, and some really impressive visual effects, too. The production crew has definitely been leveling up in that arena, because I don't think they could have pulled off a sequence like that in the first season. Looked really, really great. But the stinger at the end of the episode was the best of all. The best twist of all. That silly little mini Lola toy car that Mac made for Coulson, the one they were making jokes about, turns out to be a ploy just so Mac and Bobby could get a scanner into Coulson's office. I fucking love that. It starts as something completely innocuous that you think is just there for a little one-off joke, and then it actually turns into a big plot point. That's fucking brilliant. And we still don't know what they're up to, what their secret is, but We know it has something to do with Fury's toolbox that he gave to Coulson in the season 1 finale. First time that's come into play, by the way. The first time we've seen that. I was wondering when that would come back. I have no idea what's going on with Mac and Bobby right now, but I'm so curious about this. Apparently, they're working for somebody, contact with somebody. God, I would love it so much if that person was Abigail Brand. I'm sure it's not, but that'd be so fucking cool, wouldn't it? Oh, man. This was one of the best episodes Agents of S.H.I.E.L.D. has done. Easily one of the best. In terms of acting and character development, I think this was absolutely in the top 5. Some huge story developments. Hydra is still a threat, but they've kind of been cleared off the table while they're scrambling to find new leadership. And we don't know who that's going to be just yet, but they did name drop Baron von Strucker. And they did have an appearance by that guy who was his lieutenant, or the person he was talking to in the stinger at the end of Winter Soldier last year. So Strucker could be showing up at some point, which I would be just fangasming over. But in the meantime, they kicked off the Inhuman story with a bang, and I'm really damn excited to see where this could go. Great fucking premiere for S.H.I.E.L.D., man. I enjoyed the hell out of this. Oh, and to top it all off, Lady Sif is back next week. Fuck yeah. One more thing. With Fitz being the one who wants to show compassion to the newly superpowered Skye, and Simmons the one taking the really hardline stance against people with powers, they're suddenly on opposing sides of an issue that's about to become very topical in the Marvel Cinematic Universe. Was I the only one watching what they did with Fitz and Simmons here and thinking Civil War tie-in? Because Captain America Civil War is going into production soon. Interesting stuff. Tell me what you think down below in the comments. And with that said, let's go to the peanut gallery. Excuse me. Okay. Elsa Morty, welcome back. On Agents of S.H.I.E.L.D., I think Chloe Bennett nailed those emotional scenes, but then she always has. Agreed. I thought that was probably some of the best acting she's done yet. The way she tried to hide what was happening to her, especially when May came to see her while she was picking up the pieces, and how she was in denial when Fitz confronted her. It was so sad to see her being so vulnerable, but it came at the right time because she has been acting so strong this season, and seeing her break down and not having control over her emotions has so much more impact now. Agreed. This show does like to glorify Skye an awful lot. I don't mean that as a criticism. I'm just pointing it out. I know that some people do get a little annoyed with it at times. I could take or leave Skye for the first chunk of season 1. I think they got a better handle on her character as the season progressed, and I like her a lot more now. I do think they kind of glorify her a little bit. It maybe gets a little bit excessive sometimes, so I do like her, like seeing her the more vulnerable side of her. She's a lot more likable to me when we see that. There's a tactic I wish they'd take with May, because we never see May vulnerable. And I think I would like her more if we did. She's just this like, eternal stoic hard ass, and I find that hard to relate to. But yeah, I like seeing the characters break down a little bit, and for Skye, this to me this made her very sympathetic. And after You know, they've been leveling her up so much this season. I think that was needed and was very welcome for me anyway. The Save Me one. Since most of the heads of Hydra are dead now, do you think they will bring Quinn back to take over? We haven't seen him since the season 1 finale. Seems like he's due for a comeback. I don't think so. I don't think Ian Quinn was actually a member of Hydra specifically. I think he was affiliated with them. I don't think he was an actual member. I think maybe they could bring him in as a member, but I don't think he would be one of the heads. But you do make a good point, though. This could be an opportunity for them to bring him back in. And hopefully he would bring his gravitonium, which still has Dr. Franklin Hall floating around inside it. You know, he's got to come back at some point. But would they make him one of the Hydra heads? I doubt it. I don't think he's technically a Hydra member. But anything's possible. The Save Me one. I know Fitz's heart was in the right place, but that was not a smart thing to do. He knows Skye can't control her new powers. It's not in her best interest or anyone else, which it looks like we will see next week, to fake a blood test so she can get out of quarantine. I disagree. What we saw here, that Skye, yeah, she can't control her powers, but that's when she gets worked up and upset. She's already quite worked up from the death of Trip. And we see how Simmons is reacting, taking this stance how, if their powers, they need to be put down, potentially. And from his perspective, it's like, well, everyone is so worked up right now and being so reactionary about this. If they found out about Skye's powers right now, they're not going to take that well. And there's every possibility that they could take a bad situation and make it worse with a knee-jerk reaction. I think Fitz's perspective is, let's just take a minute, let everything cool down, let cooler heads prevail, and then when we've got a better, a little more control over ourselves and we can approach the situation calmly and rationally, then break the news to them. Because, all right, look, if they found out about Skye's powers now and, God forbid, somebody freaked out, Skye could create an earthquake that would level the whole base. Look, I mean, they're dealing with stuff they don't understand, all right? And Fitz is just trying to prevent a catastrophe here. I think letting cooler heads prevail was probably the best way to go in this case. Just go to Coulson, tell him what's going on. I highly doubt he would do anything to hurt Skye, and it would be kept top secret and go from there. Oh, I'm sure Coulson would not want to do anything to hurt Skye. Intentionally. But unintentionally, he could end up doing that. Because, look, Skye's in a very volatile state. You don't know what could set her off. I think, under the circumstances, it was best for everyone to make Skye feel safe and secure and just let everybody's nerves just calm the fuck down for a while. And then tell them that, Skye has powers that she can't control. It seems like Skye is safe as long as she doesn't get worked up. So if we can just keep her calm, let everybody else cool the fuck down, and then when we can talk about this calmly and rationally, then let the news out. Fitz may have gone off the books on this one, but frankly, I agree with his position on this. Elsa Morty. I get where Simmons is coming from because she has been infected with an alien virus before, struggled finding an anti-serum, and then jumped off the plane when she thought she failed in order to protect her team. I can't wait to see the new team dynamic. Gosh, I love these characters in this show. You are correct. Like I said, this is something for Simmons that has been building for quite a while now. She had the alien virus back in Fizzit in the first episode. I think it was episode 6 of the first season. And she's had a number of encounters with powered individuals since then, with alien stuff, alien exposure since then. And a lot of bad stuff has happened. And this is a person who was Simmons, who was kind of naive about all that stuff and kind of, very idealistic and not really being realistic about the potential ramifications of things like that and how things can go wrong. Then a whole bunch of shit really goes horribly wrong. Her life is put in danger. Her friends' lives are put in danger. Many of them nearly die a number of times. One of her friends actually does die. And she's never really dealt with any of this on an emotional level. And this is something else I've noticed about Simmons. She doesn't deal with her emotions very well. She tends to avoid dealing with them, actually. We saw an example of this in the first season. After the Chitauri virus episode, how she was avoiding talking to her parents, avoiding calling them on the phone to talk about everything. And she was kind of, this was affecting her performance. She was kind of worked up and kind of stressed out by it. She avoids uncomfortable emotions instead of dealing with them. She tends to repress them and try to not process them. We see how she's avoided talking to Fitz and not really trying very hard to broach that whole situation. And she tends to not deal with this stuff unless someone actually forces her to do it, or unless she has no choice but to deal with it. And it gets to a point where those feelings are bottled up so long that they kind of manifest themselves in unhealthy ways. And I think that's what this is. That's what this reaction is from me. I think Trip dying was just the straw that broke the camel's back. And now all this stuff is kind of flooding out of her. And not in a very healthy way. I think she'll calm down once she gets it out of her system. But for right now, it's just she needs to vent. She's got a lot of stuff she needs to purge, and that's where this stance is coming from. Okay, Arrow. And we'll get to that afterward. The Save Me one. I'm thinking that Bobby and Mac might not be traitors, but this could be the beginning of SWORD, which in the comics is like the FBI to SHIELD CIA. I hope so. I really want to see Abigail Brand on this show. That would be so fucking awesome. And it makes a lot of sense, actually. Yeah, we saw hints of this. Mac is really kind of weary about alien stuff. He doesn't like it, doesn't trust it. We saw Bobby asking a lot of questions back in the mid-season finale, or the episode before the mid-season finale, excuse me, whether Coulson really intended to blow up the city. She's very, very inquisitive about that. I think it kind of makes sense, actually. If it would have something to do with alien stuff, which could lead to SWORD, Abigail Brand, I like the idea. I really do. That gaming asshole. How the fuck is Mac alive? Wasn't he taken over by Attilan or whatever? He was taken over. He was co-opted by the city. Once Sky and Reyna received the Terrigenesis, there was no more reason for him to be co-opted. And the city released him at that point. Strippin 19. I have a bad feeling that Simmons is not going to take the news that Sky has powers well, especially if she finds out that she destroyed what was left of Trip. Well, Trip was already dead at that point. And once you turn to stone, I don't think there's any coming back from that. But yeah, that's what they're setting up. I think she'll come around eventually. but the way Simmons is being so reactionary and, well, frankly, cold about the whole issue of superpowered people, that's on purpose. I think that's meant for Skye to feel alienated and to feel like an outsider. And like Cal said to her, your team is not going to understand this. They're not going to know how to deal with you. And I think this is kind of in keeping with that. She's seeing that Cal might have had a point. They don't understand this. In fact, the only one who seems to understand it is Fitz. Again, that's on purpose, because Fitz knows what it's like to have a huge unwanted change thrust upon you. And there was an interview with Jed Whedon and Marissa Tancheron. They talked about this. It was basically they wanted to kind of explore that, to have have this bond grow between Skye and Fitz, because Fitz can empathize with Skye's position where the others really can't. And we have Simmons is just on the other side of that issue. And yeah, she's not going to take it well, especially when she finds out that Fitz lied to her about Skye's test results. There's going to be a big confrontation about that, definitely. And I'm really looking forward to that, actually, because at least that would mean that Fitz and Simmons are talking, which we really don't get in this episode. Not that I'm annoyed about that at all. The Save Me one. I am glad the Reina is Tigra thing has been put to bed now. Yeah. What was with that theory? So many people were latching onto that. Oh, Reina must be Tigra. How? Why? Tigra is a completely different character with a completely different origin. Also, she's a hero, not a villain. Where were people getting that from? I don't know where that theory came from. Never made any sense to me. Plus, whatever Reina is now seems to be a badass with hands that are shaped like razor blades. She has some super strength, judging by the way she picked up Hyde by the throat, and she took 3 bullets and it did nothing. Yeah, she's definitely a lot more durable now, and she killed those 2 S.H.I.E.L.D. scientists real easily. So she's dangerous. Also dangerous to herself too. Like she said, like, I cut myself when I move. So those thorns are all over her body. That's not comfortable. So it's a really shocking development for Reina, but I like it. There's so many interesting things they can do with her now. They turned her into like a really tortured badass. There's something delightfully 90s about that. But yeah, Reina's a horror show right now, and I like it. I think it's really interesting. That gaming asshole. I saw you were freaking out on Twitter about Thorn. That is who she is, I believe, former X-Force member. Really? No. No, that can't be it. She's not Thorn. No, Thorn, I believe, was a feral mutant, like her sister, Feral, conveniently enough. But no, Feral was a mutant, wasn't she? Thorn was a mutant? Yeah, and so she would belong to the X canon, which Fox owns the rights to. So any mutant characters, with the exception of Quicksilver and Scarlet Witch, who were a special case, they would belong. Fox would have all the rights to those characters. So she's not Thorn. I think she's not that bad looking. LOL. I can tell you, I've seen enough body horror to not be affected by spiny teeth. Look up the movie Body Melt. Body Melt, huh? You know what? I'll take your word for that. I'm not really into body horror. Body melt. Wow. That gaming asshole. Have we gone over Gotham yet? Because, wow. Oh, yes. Yes, I talked about Gotham at length. Went on quite the rant about the Fish Mooney stuff. When the stream gets uploaded, just rewind and watch from the beginning. I talked for quite a while about Gotham, actually. I had more than a few things to say about that. The Save Me one. Going by this episode and the preview, it looks like we could be heading into a S.H.I.E.L.D. civil war with Coulson, Hunter, and Fitz on one side, and Simmons and Mac and on the other, with May and Bobby somewhere in the middle. May and Bobby somewhere in the middle, huh? Where'd you get that? I would think that Mac would be on the other side, since Mac is really paranoid about alien stuff. You know, and Sky is technically, infected with alien something or other now. Simmons and Mac on the other side. Oh, yes, yeah, sorry. A little dyslexic. But yeah, that could very well be the case. I know the Civil War movie is a long way off, but yeah, they could be sowing the seeds for it, actually. Excuse me. Yeah, you might be right about that. Elsa Morty. It was so funny when Raina said that Sky emerged as beautiful as ever, because that was so true. I really like Trip, but I agree that killing him was very smart, and his death means something and is a new driving force for the team. I like how they paid tribute to him. It was simple, and yet I couldn't help but cry. Yeah, they paid respect to that character. I like that they had Coulson show up at his mom's place and drop off his things, and the character didn't really amount to much while he was alive. Maybe that may have been because BJ Britt was on another show and was balancing two roles at the same time, so they didn't have him for long periods of time. So they couldn't do a lot with him, I guess. But they made his death mean something. In Aftermatch, they paid enough respect to it that the death does resonate, and it does allow for new story and character developments to come out of that. I thought that was very well done. Striffin 19. I know it sounded bad when Gordon said that he would take care of the new Inhumans, but I think he's just doing the job that Sky's mother used to do. Yeah, pretty much. She said and then she called him beautiful in the opener, and then that's what he called Raina when he showed up to save her. It's like, don't worry, beautiful. Whatever the line was, I forget. But yeah, it sounds like he's kind of taken up where Sky's mom left off. That gaming asshole. I did not appreciate how easily Hydra got fucking exposed. I mean, really, I get it, catharsis or whatever, but Jesus Christ, really? These are international terrorists. Could they have even been alive after all this time if they're easily pooned by fucking S.H.I.E.L.D.? Stay free, Hydra. Okay. All right. I would argue that, Coulson had a really good plan. If Bakshi was convinced that certain Hydra leaders wanted him dead, and he had an in with somebody above them, that might have been enough, all the convincing they needed to kind of take those people out. Yeah, and we saw that Bakshi was being considered for the empty leadership spot left by Whitehall, so obviously they thought a lot of him. I think it's possible that he could have had enough clout with whoever is still in charge to kind of have those people removed. Maybe it is a bit of a dramatic conceit, but I think you get a limited number of those. Plus, after we've been dealing with Hydra for like a season and a half now, I think it was cathartic enough for me that I didn't mind if it wasn't if it was a bit of a stretch. And personally, I didn't mind it. Okay, Marvel stuff. That gaming asshole. I agree with Elsa Morty. He is endangering everyone since we know that Terrigenesis doesn't spread like a virus. But he does not. And for all he knows, he just released airborne AIDS into the world. Hell, for all he knows, that thing was meant as a bioweapon. He has no idea what is happening, and he's acting on pure emotion at best with half a deck of cards at worst. Okay, I guess we're talking about Fitz here. Well, released airborne AIDS into the world. Well, I don't think so, because if Skye was contagious, then that stuff was already out. I mean, they brought her back to the base and they put her in there. I mean, they have her contained now, but she was already out before that. So if she was contagious or if she was releasing toxins or deadly pathogens into the air, I mean, that stuff was already in the air. They were already exposed to it. So right now, this was just about containing any further exposure. And I think if she was dangerous, if she was contagious, I mean, Fitz had her test results there. If she was a danger to herself and others beyond simply having powers, I don't think he would have let her out. And he's not dumb. I mean, they had all her test results. I think, okay, if you're releasing deadly pathogens, deadly viruses, or I mean, you know what? You need to stay in there. I mean, because we saw them running all sorts of tests. So I'm pretty sure Fitz knew that she wasn't dangerous in that sense. She just has powers now. And I would argue that letting everybody calm down before they reveal that she has powers was a good way to go, just to let cooler heads prevail. Okay, Dawn of Justice stuff. All right. Okay. So for Shield questions, so we go back, talk about everything else. First, we got an Arrow question from Twitter. At Pedro Lunion, Stephen ML tweeted about someone leaving the show. Yeah. Well, if you hadn't heard about this, the Arrow cast have been teasing a lot that somebody might be leaving the show, some cast member. Nothing really specific, but they have been hinting at it a lot. How there's some kind of big loss coming. I'm sticking with my theory that it's Quentin Lance, Paul Blackthorne. Just kind of seems like they're pretty much done with that character. Feels like he's being geared up for some kind of tragic fate, which I think would make sense at this point, because it just doesn't seem like they've got much for him anymore, aside from being, this season's shock death, like Moira Queen before him, and Tommy Merlin before her. If they wanted to really surprise us, I guess there's an outside chance that it could be Roy if they wanted to go against the comics. I hope not, because there seems like there's a lot more they could do with Roy. That would feel like kind of a waste. That would feel like jumping the shark to me. I do worry that maybe they might go the comics route and cut Roy's arm off and have him leave the team that way. Because I believe Willa Holland put some pictures on social media of her being fitted for a mask. And I think DC confirmed this, that she's going to get a costume by the end of the season. So if Thea's going to join Team Arrow, that means that be trying to make room for her by having someone else leave. I hope not. I don't think it makes sense to kill any of those people. Certainly not Roy. I'm sticking with Quentin Lance. I think Quentin Lance makes the most sense. It wouldn't be surprising, but it would make sense, and I wouldn't want anyone else to die. Well, Laurel, but that's not happening. But yeah, I wonder if we may have reached that point where they're so desperate to continue topping themselves that they go too far and start killing people who probably shouldn't be killed. People from the main cast. Like the core Team Arrow members. It's I don't know, guys. I don't know. Let's see. Okay. Striffin 19. Thoughts on the new Arrowverse show with Brandon Routh, Victor Garber, Wentworth Miller, and Katie Lotz? More specifically, if Katie will be Sarah or someone new. This sounds like fucking fanfic to me. Supposedly there was work being done on an Addams spinoff for Brandon Routh. That I could believe. This, I don't know what to make of this. I mean, you got Victor Garber, but not Robbie ML, or the guy playing Jason Rush. So you get just one half of Firestorm. You get Captain Cold in there. You know, Katie Lotz either brought back to life when that probably shouldn't be possible by now, or just magically playing a different character altogether by the same different character but the same actress. This sounds like fucking fanfic to me. I will be surprised if this gets off the ground. This sounds like a whole bunch of really weird projects by movie studios that never happened, like that Sinister Six movie. Why would you do a Sinister Six movie without Spider-Man? It's fucking fanfic. Okay, that gaming asshole. Holy shit, I almost missed the stream. Been watching American Crime. It kicks ass. Yeah, I heard good things about that show. Let's see. Strippin' 19. I know it sounded bad when Gord. No, wait, no, sorry. Did that one. Here we go. That gaming asshole. Have we gone over the glorious madness of Fish Mooney yet? Yes, I have. Yes, I have. Because I'm starting to enjoy her scenes in a weirdly sick way. I literally lost my mind this week when Reanimator's head was stuck on the body of what looked like Kate Upton. You're not alone. Terrible green screen, but wow, yeah, I get how Dr. Dollface wanted to punish him, but it seemed like Reanimator had a boob job to M80. Methinks Fish Mooney has finally circled around from being stupid to bad to avant-garde. I suppose there is a chance that this could venture into so bad it's funny territory. I don't know if we're there yet, but it's getting close. But the problem is we're supposed to take the rest of this show seriously. And that means there's gonna be a pretty fucking huge tonal shift when we go from Fish back to Gotham. Oh my god. Oh, but Oh, but yeah, glorious madness. That's a good way to describe it. Yeah, just wait for the stream to be uploaded. I went on quite a rant about the Fish Money stuff. I don't think you'll be disappointed. The Save Me one. I'm a little bit worried about Age of Ultron. We have talked about Dawn of Justice having too many heroes in it. Just look at Ultron. There's Nick Fury, Iron Man, Captain America, Black Widow, Thor, the Hulk, Hawkeye, Scarlet Witch, Quicksilver, War Machine, Vision, Falcon, Maria Hill, and Peggy Carter. That seems pretty crowded for just one movie. Graham, possibly, but well, first of all, I don't think War Machine and Falcon have big parts. I would guess. I mean, they're not on any of the media. I would guess that their parts are relatively small. Probably not much more than cameos, like Pepper Potts was in the first Avengers movie. They are putting a Scarlet Witch, Quicksilver, and Vision in there. That does make things kind of crowded, but Joss Whedon is very good with ensemble casts. It may feel a little bit bloated, but he has a very good track record at giving every character moments to shine. So I'm not concerned about that. That gaming asshole. Oh yeah, Dawn of Justice is gonna blow. I hate that they keep pushing Superman after all these years. No one likes him. He's such a Mary Sue. He makes Lana Lang look like Laurel Lance. Wow, really that bad, huh? Aquaman may be the best thing in the movie, ironically. Really, no love for Batfleck? I'm disappointed. I'm trying to keep an open mind on Dawn of Justice. I liked Man of Steel for the most part. I know a lot of people have problems with it, but for me, that was the closest we've gotten to the kind of Superman that I'd like to see than I've gotten from the movies before. So for the most part, I like what they did with Man of Steel. Despite the flaws in the movie, of which there are a number of. It's the same creative team working on this movie, so I'm going to give him a chance. I'm just trying to keep an open mind about it. I agree that I kind of wish I agree it's happening way too fast. I wish we would get a Batman solo movie with the new Batman, and maybe another Superman solo movie, then do the Superman Batman team up, then do Justice League. It just seems like they're cramming a whole lot of people into this movie. Yeah, we got Superman, Batman, we got Superman supporting cast, probably some of Batman supporting cast. We know at least I'm pretty sure Alfred is in there, and then we got Wonder Woman, and we got Aquaman, and there's rumors of I believe Cyborg has been cast, and there's rumors of Flash who may be in it. It sounds like they just want to do Justice League, and they're kind of rushing the Justice League movie out the gate. It does feel like it's happening really fucking fast. So I do wish they would take their time on it a little bit more, or a lot more, because I mean the solo movies do make a lot of money. There's no reason to rush this. Marvel's proven to have a winning formula. There's no reason to not to try something like that. But I'm going to give the movie a chance to. I'll see it before I start bashing it. TKO Rising. What did you think about the new Avengers: Age of Ultron trailer from yesterday? And is there any possibility that the yellow glowing stone on Vision's forehead might turn out to be the Soul Gem? I think there's a good possibility, actually. I like the trailer. I'm glad we had a little more footage of Quicksilver and Scarlet Witch. We haven't seen too much of them yet. They're keeping Vision under wraps, surprisingly. I kind of wish we'd see a little bit more of him. But yeah, it feels like they're going darker, more into the characters a little bit more. I think we see it looks like we're going to get more of Black Widow's origin stuff, which I'm excited about. Hopefully more of Hawkeye. Um, it does look like they're doing a little bit of a romance with Black Widow and Hulk, which not sure where that's coming from. That feels really weird to me. Not sure how I feel about that part, but it's a great trailer. I love that shot where they're kind of like jumping out of the Jeep and like, fuck gravity, we're the Avengers, and they go like jump out of it all at once, and there's this, we see them in profile as they're like blasting towards something. It's good. It's a good trailer. I think Ultron is really fucking creepy. I think it looks like a really fucking good movie. And I'm excited. Okay. TKO Rising. Is there going to be a lot of superheroes in the Civil War movie just like in the comics? I don't know. I believe Black Panther is supposed to be in it. I think that's been confirmed now. There's rumors of Spider-Man making a cameo, although if that's going to happen, they're going to have to cast him pretty soon. Because they're about to go into production on Captain America, Civil War. Yeah, but so yeah, we know for a fact. I'm pretty sure we got Black Panther in there at least. Maybe some other people. Who knows? There's an outside chance of Spider-Man, but if he's going to be in it, I think it'll probably just be a cameo, maybe in the end credit stinger. I don't think it'll be much more than that, though. That gaming asshole. Thorn may be a mutant in the comics, but then again, so is Quake. Is she? I don't think so. I think her powers came from being Mr. Hyde's daughter. He screwed around with his genetics to give himself powers, and that kind of passed over to Quake. I don't think she's a mutant. I'm pretty sure about that. Could be wrong, but no, I don't believe so. Just saying, this is the show that made Deathlock a former Hydra super soldier empowered by steroids. Yeah, they took a few liberties there. Plus, I skimmed through a list of Marvel characters who fit Raina's description, and she was one of two who matched. The only other one was some Savage Land mutant who looked like Power Girl as a furry with spikes on her arms. I don't know, man. Thorn, Raina. It's been a while since I read those old X-Force issues, but I don't think Thorn and Raina look nothing alike to me, at least as I remember the Thorn character. She kind of looked like a cat. Raina doesn't look like a cat. Well, like a porcupine / hedgehog, but I really don't think so, dude. Could be wrong, but I doubt it. Elsa Morty, I'm just thinking about it now, but Gordon thinks that Raina was the only one who changed. But the Diviner changed Raina and Sky. He doesn't know that. So I'm wondering if Raina will hide it from him, and when he knows, if he will try to look for Sky to take her in. But we know Raina doesn't want that, and Sky doesn't like her, but Gordon knew her mother, and I'm sure at some point she will want to know more. Yeah, possibly. We saw Gordon in the mid-season finale stinger. He said, there's someone new, singular. So he knows that someone went through Terrigenesis, but for all he knows, it could be only one person. He doesn't know there were two people in the chamber when it happened. Raina may tell him about Sky, because Raina seems to want revenge on Sky because she really hates her now. She might hide her from him at first, unless she wants him to go after her. So he would bring Sky to her, so she could fight Sky and possibly kill her. You know, Raina knows how to manipulate people. We know that. Excuse me. But yeah, Gordon did know her mother. He doesn't know that she was Sky's mother, but he did know her mother. That could come into play later on. That would be very interesting to see those two have a conversation. But it would appear that if Gordon finds out about Sky, it may not happen for a while. Just judging by press releases and spoilers and whatnot, it doesn't look like Sky is joining up with the Inhumans, at least not yet. It appears like she's going to be staying with the team. They have Blair Underwood's character coming in to kind of teach her how to use her powers, and another character that apparently they're going to run into that's going to teach her about her powers and stuff like that. It doesn't. If Sky and Gordon are going to cross paths, it doesn't seem to be in the cards just yet. But I would not rule it out, certainly. Elsa Morty, on Arrow, you forgot to talk about Ra's al Ghul's offer to Oliver last week. No, we covered that. What's your opinion? I think Oliver will at least consider it, thinking that he could do something better with the League of Assassins and also free Maceo so that he could get his life back, but we know that's never a good idea. Well, Arrow is usually very good at twists like that. I think they'll have some kind of justification for Oliver at least considering it. I don't know how plausible. I don't know how plausible that'll be, but I think he will at least consider it. Because I think the showrunners, they said this in an interview, they were looking for a different type of threat than the one last year with Slade Wilson. This would definitely fit the bill. I mean, you can't just have the bad guys just attacking the city. So, yeah, I think Oliver will consider it, and they may draw that out for a while. But I like the twist. It was surprising. I didn't expect it, and I like that. So yeah, I think they could draw that out for a little bit. That gaming asshole. I figure dude can track Inhumans or something. He's probably aware of where they are, or else how did he find her? In fact, I imagine that's his power, which is why Sky's mom wanted him. Could be, yeah. If that is the Reader character from the comics, it looks like they've changed his power. More of a teleporter and a tracker, I guess. Who knows? Yeah, you could be right. That gaming asshole. As long as Katie Lotz is there, so am I. She can play the voice of a talking dog, and I'll be there waiting. But yeah, Sinister Six movie would be retarded. Yeah. I suppose I'd give it a shot if they tried this bizarre team up of Captain Cold and Katie Lotz and Victor Garber and the Atom. It's fucking fanfic, dude. I would be very surprised if it gets off the ground, and even if it does, it sounds like a clusterfuck to me, honestly. That gaming asshole. For future reference, M80 equals matey. Okay, got it. Matey, it's just a video game meme. Pay it no mind. Okay, cool. Again, little dyslexic here, so these things kind of escape me sometimes. The Save Me one. Hawkeye may get killed off in this one to make room. Yeah, I heard a rumor about that. There was supposedly a script synopsis that leaked online that may or may not have been accurate. Could have easily been falsified, but in that one, Hawkeye did get killed. He died heroically. I don't. It would be that would be Joss Whedon's MO. I don't know if Marvel would allow him to kill off any of the characters, but he would probably want to, because guy's a little bloodthirsty. I suppose Hawkeye would probably be the most expendable since he's the character that's had the least development, I guess. Um, Black Widow hasn't had her own solo movie, but she's been heavily involved in the Captain America stuff, and she's been developed enough where she's valuable. Plus, she's been the only girl in the team up to that point. I think Hawkeye would be the most judging by the way Whedon thinks, I think Hawkeye probably would be the most in danger of being killed off if he were to do it. I don't know if he will, but there's always a possibility. Come on. That gaming asshole. Man of Steel was the best Superman movie ever made. That's a fucking sad state of affairs. But then again, Man of Steel helped me realize the worst, but obnoxious, most tedious thing in Superman is Lois Lane. Really? I thought Amy Adams was really good in that movie. If they don't have Clark end up with Wonder Woman in this movie, I give the fuck up. He needs a relationship with a woman who isn't a toxic Baron Shrew. For God's sake, I will literally stand up and applaud if he leaves her for Batman. At least Batman isn't a bitch. Wow. You really don't like Lois Lane, do you? I will grant you that the movies haven't always had the best depiction of Lois Lane. I didn't really care for whatever the actress's name was in the old Christopher Reeve Superman movies. Didn't like that Lois. She was kind of annoying to me. Kate Bosworth was just she did nothing with the part. I really liked Amy Adams as Lois, though. I thought they did a really good job with her. And I thought she was definitely one of the better parts of that movie. And I'm one of the people that actually don't mind Clark being with Wonder Woman in the comics. If they wanted him to stay with Lois, I would have been fine with that too. But I don't mind them exploring the Superman Wonder Woman thing because that's one of the great what ifs of the comic universe. And plus, I'm not overly attached to the Superman mythos and characters in the first place. So if they wanted to change things up a little bit, I was okay with that because I didn't have a huge attachment to it. But I know a lot of people don't like the Superman Wonder Woman thing. I'm kind of ambivalent about who they have him end up with, I guess. But toxic Baron Shrew, huh? That's a little harsh, man. I would rate Amy Adams a little better than that. Let's see, Elsa Morty, your show comes on at 4 a.m. here, but I try to be here when I can because every time I come here, I learn some new things as I'm not familiar with the Marvel Universe at all, LOL. I was introduced to the universe with Agents of S.H.I.E.L.D., and then I watched some movies, and I like the way y'all think. Glad I could help out. It's part of the reason why I do this. Also, thanks for tuning in. It's nice to have people who appreciate why I do this every week. That's nice. That makes me feel good. If that's everything, I think that's everything. Hold on. Here we go. That gaming asshole. Comic Lois is so much worse, but movie Lois was more omnipresent. At least the comics leave her out of most issues. Amy Adams holding her nose and playing that role, she deserves a Medal of Honor. Wow, you really don't like Lois, do you? I have noticed that. Yeah, they've kind of been leaving her out of the comics recently because I guess Clark quit the Daily Planet and started his own like a news blog or something with Cat Grant. So Lois doesn't show up as much. Again, it's a change that I don't mind that much. Of course, I don't read the Superman comics in the first place. I don't follow them. I flip through them once in a while. So again, it's a change that doesn't really bother me. The Save Me one. Terry Hatcher, best Lois ever. Wow. Yeah, Terry Hatcher was severely crush-worthy as Lois, wasn't she? Damn. I know that, Lois and Clark, The New Adventures of Superman wasn't a great show, but she was fun to look at on that show, that's for damn sure. She was very nice to look at. Okay. I think that's no, wait, no. Michael Corvin, do you think Marvel should go the route of DC and try to get certain titles made into direct-to-DVD movies rather than going the cinematic route? I don't see why they would. They're making truckloads of money just going the cinematic route, just having everything. Oh no, fuck you. No, wait, no, there it goes. Sorry. Yeah, they're making tons of money doing all theatrical releases. I don't see why they'd stop. Maybe if they were to take some of their more obscure characters and do a straight-to-DVD movie with those, maybe in animated form, that might work. Not all of the Marvel animated movie properties have been masterpieces. I've seen a couple of them. I saw the Ultimates one that I didn't like so much. But it seems like some of the more obscure characters going to Netflix. I don't think so. No, I think they're having a ton of success with the theatrical releases. I think they'll just stick with those. I think if they were to go straight to DVD, it would probably be like an animated movie or something. They've experimented with that in the past. The Save Me one. I want Batman and Wonder Woman in Dawn of Justice. You know what? If they did that, I'd be okay with it. I know they kind of had those two kind of had a thing in the Justice League animated series, which I liked. And it seems like they've already got Superman with Lois in the movies, and I kind of prefer not to do a love triangle because those are overdone. If they wanted to do Batman and Wonder Woman, yeah, sure, why not? And I think that's everything. And let me just look through this one more time. Yeah, I'm pretty sure that's everything. Yeah. So I got a little ear problem right now. I have to see the ear, nose, and throat guy again. All right, I'm sorry if I've missed anything. Google Plus likes to put all these comments out of order for some reason. Yeah, I believe that's everything. If I missed anything, I'm sorry. But I believe that's a good place to end it. We're just a little over an hour and a half into this thing, so that's a good place. It's a good stopping point for tonight. I believe next week it's also Gotham and Shield. I think Arrow might be off for another week or two. I think Flash is coming back in week after next. Don't quote me on that. I might be wrong. But either way, I'll still be here. Same time, same channel. I hope you'll join me once again. And with that, I bid you adieu. Good night and good luck. Thanks for tuning in. See you next time.